tearing round residential areas in 30-mile-an-hour limits, racing each other at 70-80 mile an hour. Don't get caught. It boils my piss. I'll say no more. Hey up! Oh, welcome back. Welcome back to the mediocrity which is the Bingley Wheeler. On this ever so grey autumnal day, where the colours of this Yorkshire landscape are almost laid monochrome. Well and truly into autumn now. Yeah, so out and about on the BSA Goldstar 650. Been quite a while since I've been out on this bike. Now it's due its second service, annual service in this case. And I'm recording this on a Saturday, and on Monday when it's going to be pouring down I have to take this bike to Eddie's Moto in Tadcaster for the service. So we're getting wet. But there you go. Coming up on Kilnsea Crag. Got Andy and Colin behind. And we're going to turn off to Arncliffe, and then from Arncliffe the plan is to follow a road in the sort of general direction of a little place called Stainforth. I think that's the plan. But I'm taking a road I've only taken once before, and the last time I took it I followed Andy, and I know it takes us up sort of towards Malham Tarn, that general direction, so let us see if I can do my usual trick and miss the right turn off. So, BSA Goldstar, is this a good bike for older riders, or for older riders returning to motorcycling after a break, or for older riders starting to take up motorcycling? Well, I would say absolutely yes. I mean, it is A2 compliant, but it's a very peppy engine, this single cylinder liquid cooled Rotax engine. As I've said before, if you compare this with the Royal Enfield 650 parallel twins, it feels as if it's got a good bit more get up and go in the mid-range, albeit that it's a couple of brake horsepower less, but it is 45 brake horsepower, so A2 compliant. And it handles nicely. The suspension is adequate. It's not It's not by any means premium, but it's adequate. It isn't diabolical, but it can be a bit choppy on these uneven road surfaces. I know a lot of people that have these bikes fit Hagons. I know Colin's on his BSA Goldstar behind, and Andy's on his new BSA Bantam. So it's a trio of BSAs, but I know Colin's got the I think it's Hagon shocks he's got on his. I think he bought them off Stuart Fillingham, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if I'm going to go down that route. There are other priorities. But yeah, I mean, it's up to the job. So yeah, definitely a bike for the older rider. I mean, it's fairly modest in weight for a 650. It's I think around about 215 kilo mark. So very manageable. And also a very comfortable riding position. You can get bar risers if you want. I'm okay with this. But of course, as you get on a bit in years, comfort is everything. So yeah, it's a comfortable bike, no question about that. It's also a fabulous looking bike to my mind. Almost as beautiful to behold as the Royal Enfield Classic 650, a black and chrome one that I have. Almost, but not quite. But still, cracking good looking bike this, and no mistake, and very affordable. I mean, at one point you could pick these up for under £5,000 brand new. I'm not so sure if that's still the case. I do believe that come the new year, these will be back at the sort of earlier £6,500 price point, but still an awful lot of bike for the money. And of course, if you're of my sort of generation, if you're a baby boomer, you will of course remember the BSAs of old. Birmingham small arms, the old British bikes of the 1950s and 60s. And if you're into your nostalgia, which I am, then for sure this will tick several boxes for you. Because it certainly carries that vintage vibe about it, both in terms of the riding experience and of course the looks. So this model here of mine's in British Racing Green. I haven't done an awful lot to it. I've put the original BSA dresser bars on. I've put a headlight grille on. I've put these here stadium bar end mirrors on. And of course the colour multifunction TFT here. And if you want to get yourself one of these, look in the description section of this channel and grab yourself a bargain. The AOC units, which are giving you like this: high definition video recording front and rear, tyre pressure monitoring, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, GPS, all of that. You can get a whacking great 22% off courtesy of me by following the link in the affiliate description. Sorry, the affiliate link in the description below. Grab yourself a bargain. Cracking bit of kit, these. So yeah, I've added that, and I think that's about it. I may at some point fit a couple of spotlights. We shall see. Look at all these dry stone walls here. Where else could you be than the good old Yorkshire Dales? Yeah, so BSA Goldstar. If you are of a certain age like me, what a perfect bike, particularly if you've just got back into motorcycling. Now, of course, the other thing that's important, if you're of a certain age, or even if you're not, is keeping warm, because as we get on a bit, our circulation can deteriorate, and it can be a lot easier to get cold in your hands. So yeah, these ride iron, woohoo, heated gloves. Cracking idea. Again, get yourself some discount in the description section, but they're excellent. 4 different settings on these. The new ones with the carbon nanotube technology, and just the thing, if your hands get cold easily, if your circulation's starting to deteriorate a little bit with age, great thing for you. Or you could fit heated grips to this bike very straightforwardly. But I have to say, the other thing about these gloves is they're still warm even when they're not switched on, so even without the heating engaged, they're plenty warm. Right. God, you know, we're riding through Bradford the other day, we're on my way to Squires, and for whatever reason, and I wish I hadn't, but I chose to go sort of via Garforth, you know, Leeds way, Garforth to Sherburn, but that involves going through Bradford. And I was riding up Manchester Road in Bradford, and if you're local, you may well know Manchester Road in Bradford. It's a dual carriageway, but it's a 30-mile-an-hour limit because it's in a heavily built residential area with a lot of retail premises and housing and schools and what have you. So it's 30 mile an hour, but there are no speed cameras on the bottom stretch. But chuffing hell, howling past me was an Audi S3, I think it was, new one, followed by a 6 Series BMW coupe, followed by some other BMW, all with bloody atomic bomb grade exhausts on. and I'm not kidding you, they were all racing each other. They were racing each other in an utterly reckless, dangerous manner. And I would estimate their speed as they came past me at 70-80 miles an hour plus, easy. Absolutely howling, complete disregard for anybody and everything. And the sad thing is, absolutely nothing unusual about it, nothing unusual about that at all in our big cities these days. But back when I were a traffic cop in Bradford, me and my partner would not have tolerated anything like that. We'd have been all over them like a bad rash, and they'd have been stopped and they'd have been fizzed proper time. And of course, you know, the statutory response when you say, look at this madness going on and not a police car to be seen, not a traffic car to be seen, statutory responses, oh, we've got other preventative measures in place, by which of course they mean speed cameras. But as I've said before, and I will say it again, speed cameras, in order to detect offences, rely upon the car or motorcycle in question to be owned and driven stroke ridden by a thoroughly responsible person. Because of course what happens is when that speed camera is tripped, it generates an automatic letter to the registered keeper with a statutory notice requiring that registered keeper to furnish the details of the person driving the car or riding the bike at the time of the offence. Or to fess up to it. And I am absolutely confident that these cars that go howling around places like Bradford, I'm willing to bet that when they do trip speed cameras, but nothing comes of it, because the registered keeper details will either be completely inaccurate, or the registered keeper will basically make a case that they cannot identify who the driver might have been, and then there's a lot of work involved in getting to the root of it, and I'm willing to bet that it just doesn't happen. So yeah, speed cameras, great, catch Mr. and Mrs. Decent a few miles over the limit, but these mad idiots tearing round residential areas in 30 mile an hour limits, racing each other at 70-80 mile an hour, don't get caught. It boils my piss. I'll say no more, or it could turn into a proper rant, couldn't it? So I'm just going to let this beautiful scenery unfold before you. Wahey!